Hi everyone, welcome to our series on pivot table. Recently, I got one query from one of the followers saying that can we create dynamic pivot tables in Excel? So, yeah, we can create dynamic pivot tables. And today's session, we are going to see how to create dynamic pivot tables. So, for that, we have some random data, and this is the data I have. Usually, when we have the data, what we will do? We will go to this insert, pivot tables, we'll select the range, existing worksheet or new worksheet, whatever you want to give the output, you can select that. And for example, I'm selecting it over here. So this, if you do, this is a normal pivot table, right? So now you select nature, values, whatever like parameters you want, you can select it, right? This is the normal pivot table, how it works. Now, if you're doing any changes to this particular table, for example, I've just added a column. Will it automatically update? No, I have to refresh it. Or for example, if I'm adding it over at the right side, extreme right side, will it be updated? No, even if I do refresh, the pivot table won't be updated. I have to change the settings, change data source, extend it, and then only it will work. This is a normal pivot table. This everyone knows, right? So let's see how to make a dynamic pivot table. For that, first we need to convert our data into a table format. So select the range you have, Control T. Control T will create a table. So first you need to select the range you have and then create table, right? In this particular data, I have the headers. So I will select my table has headers and click OK. And now we'll link this table to the pivot table. Table 20. It automatically picked the range, right? Table 20. Okay. So now click OK. And let's give the same examples. So now, for example, I have added some data at the bottom. We have data till 108, right? So I'm adding 109. Okay. So I'm creating some different category just to identify whether it's created successfully or not. Now we have assets, equity, liability, P&L. So if I just look refresh, see it automatically updated. Now let's try something at the right side. So I have value USD. Okay, I got the values. So if I try to just again refresh, so value USD, it automatically came, right? So I don't need to change the data source again and again just because this is a table. So this is how we create dynamic pivot tables where you don't need to change the data source multiple times. But always make sure that you have the headers keyed in properly. If the headers are not keyed in, the table will create, for example, if I don't create a name for this, it automatically say column 1, column 2. So the table, since it is in a table format, the table will create some headers for that. And in future, you might not be able to understand what is this value, what is this value, right? So always give the proper headers. It will make your job easy. And the next option is, like people ask sometimes, right? Whether we have to click on refresh every time. Yeah, I mean, that we have to do. There's no other option for that. But there's one option which I can show. For example, in the pivot table options, under this data tab, we have one option, refresh data when opening the file. So if you do this, whenever you close the Excel and open it again, the data will be automatically refreshed. So you don't need to do it again. But if you are opening the Excel and working on that, and if you do any changes over here, at that time, you have to click on refresh yourself. But if you close the Excel and open again and enable this particular option, refresh data when opening the file, this will do refresh automatically. But this is only for closing and opening. Just remember that. If not, you have to do it on your own. So hope this helps. If you want me to cover any topics or queries which you have or any discussion points you want to have, just let me know so we can have it covered in the next sessions. Thank you. Hope this helps.